I really don't know what it is, but sometimes I just wake up and I choose violence. And today was one of those days. So I want to give you guys some of my Halloween hot takes. And they're spicy.
We stopped at a light and saw him walking in that field behind the Lost River Drive-In. Julie said he was so creepy.
Hey, what is up everybody? Nick here, and today I want to give you guys some Halloween franchise hot takes. Now, if you have followed my channel for any amount of time, you know I'm full of those. Most people would actually tell you that my Halloween fandom is probably just one big hot take. Now, whether my brain is wired incorrectly or I was dropped on my head a bunch of times, I don't know the answer. I just know that I have some really weird opinions when it comes to the Halloween franchise. And I probably should have done this in October, but let's be honest, Halloween is year-round for us Halloween fans, so why not give you some Halloween content in November? Another reason why I wanted to do this as one video is because there have been many people that have joined my channel over the last couple months that have probably heard a hot take or two of mine in the Halloween franchise, but they don't know about a lot of my other hot takes. So let's put them together, the ones that I talk about the most. And I do just have to preface by saying these are just my opinions. These are my takes. I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm not trying to say that I'm right. It's just this is how I view certain things and how I feel about certain things. And opinions that I will stand 10 toes down on until I'm dead. So let's get into it. One of the hottest takes I have in the Halloween franchise is that Rachel Carruthers is overrated. Everybody talks about Rachel like she is on the level of Laurie Strode or Sidney Prescott, and I've just never seen it. I've literally seen articles before saying, Rachel Carruthers is the greatest final girl in the Halloween franchise. Now, to each their own for sure, but that's a wild take considering she's largely only in one movie. And in that one movie, I have a lot of issues with the character. Ellie Cornell is a good actress. I think she gives a good performance in the movie. And by the end of the movie, you end up liking Rachel. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like the character is just such a black hole of charisma. She just doesn't light up the screen when she's on it. She's not bubbly or exciting or fun or funny. She's just there. She's milquetoast. She's bland. She's like low-fat milk. You know, if I'm going to drink milk, I want 2% or vitamin D at least. But like skim milk, I'm sorry, I'm not about it. Look, I don't hate Rachel. I know a lot of people say that I hate her. I don't hate her. She's fine. But she is so overrated to me. My next hot take in the Halloween franchise is that Laurie Strode is miles better in Halloween H2O than she is in Halloween 2018. Now, that's not to say that either performance is bad or whatever. It's more so just that I think that the arc of Laurie Strode makes a lot more sense in H2O. And I feel like it comes across as a lot more believable. I think Jamie Lee gives a fine performance in 2018. I just personally don't jive with how the character is written. Now, that's just a different strokes thing. Like, other people love it, and people like me are like, that just seems overboard. It seems like too much. And that's where I land with it. Whereas Halloween H2O, she reminds me of my mom a lot when I was growing up, you know, trying to stay busy, dealing with a lot of issues that are prone to make her snap every now and then. Sometimes, you know, dip into the bottle or some pill bottles to try to ease the pain of life. Like, it just feels really relatable. It feels like what we see a lot, even in today's day and age, with people that are dealing with grief and loss and trauma. I just so much prefer that performance and that character. Not to say that I don't like Laurie in that Blumhouse trilogy. I think she gets better, largely in Halloween Ends, but in Halloween 2018, it can't hold a candle to Laurie in H2O. My next hot take, and this is one I have said many times before, is that I think Scout Taylor Compton's performance as Laurie Strode in Halloween 2 is the greatest Laurie Strode performance in the franchise. Now, I know a lot of people hate that movie, so they are just not going to hear me out on this take, and that's totally fine. But her performance in that movie is the anchor. She shows so much range in it. You have those flashes of Scout from the 2007 movie where she's trying to be playful and jokey and innocent, but you also have this just crushing weight of PTSD and grief and trauma just like pulling down on her throughout this entire movie to where you watch her unravel as the movie goes on. And by the end, she's totally lost her mind. Now, whether you hate the movie or not, I think you have to commend the performance because it's super believable. You believe that this Laurie Strode is descending into madness rapidly. It is sold to you. And aside from Halloween H2O, I don't think there's another Laurie Strode performance that even comes close to showing that much range. A lot of the Laurie performances in the franchise, though I love the character, are pretty one note for the movie that they're in. This performance, I feel like, has a lot of layers to it. And again, I have to shout out H2O because it's right up there as well. I'm not saying it's the greatest performance in the entire Halloween franchise, though it's definitely up there for me, but I think it is easily the best Laurie Strode performance, period. The next take is one that took me a couple years to marinate on, but I think I'm here now. James Jude Courtney is Michael Myers. Now, that's not to take away from all of the performances that have come before him. I love so many of them. Obviously, Nick Castle is the blueprint. You've got a lot of people that love Dick Warlock and his stoic nature. People that love George P. Wilbur in Halloween 4. Not so much me, but I love him in Halloween 6. We could go down the line of great performances in the franchise. I think James Jude Courtney is the perfect mix of everything that's ever been right with Michael Myers. He gets the walk right, he gets the sit up right, he gets the playful nature right, but he also has the physical intimidation that Tyler Maines Myers had. And that was one of my favorite things about Maines Myers, is that he was so imposing. You did not want to come across this guy. It is crazy that James Jude Courtney could take the best things of Castle, the best things of Wilbur, the best things of Tyler Mane, and morph them into one performance of Michael Myers. Now, of course, it helps that it's got some of the best masks in the franchise in that trilogy, but I think we're here now. James Jude Courtney, he's the GOAT. My next hot take is one that I'm realizing over time isn't as hot anymore, but like 10-15 years ago, it would have been a hotter take. And that's, no, the opening of Halloween Resurrection is not good. I have heard so many people when they've reviewed this movie say, well, at least the opening of the movie's good. Everything after that is downhill. No, it's not. I did a video on this a month ago. I think I explained myself pretty well. The way they dumb down the character of Laurie Strode and unceremoniously kill her off is honestly infuriating. Like, that is probably worse than anything else in the movie, aside from Busta's Kung Fu fight. I think that the most disrespectful aspects of Resurrection are actually in the opening, not in the back 85% of the movie. And I know that a lot of people feel that way because they're like, well, it's more self-contained. You've got Jamie Lee Curtis there. She's giving a good performance. So that's clearly a good opening, right? No, it's not. It's not a good opening. I'm here to say still that there's nothing good about Halloween Resurrection. My next hot take is that Halloween The Curse of Michael Myers theatrical cut is actually better than the producer's cut. Now, a lot of people will give you pushback on that because they will say, oh, well, the producer's cut is closer to the intended vision that Daniel Farrance had for that movie. That's absolutely right. That doesn't mean that vision was good. Look, the theatrical cut clearly has some editing issues. They excised a bunch of stuff out dealing with the cult and whatnot so they could try to make it more streamlined and less confusing. So there's definitely some left to be desired there. Some things that maybe don't totally line up or make sense, but they went for more of a frenetic, action-packed slasher movie with that cut. And I actually prefer it because the producer's cut gets way into the weeds with some of this stuff, with the mythology that they are creating on the fly. Answering a bunch of questions that we were never asking in the first place, to the point where it goes way overboard. Look, I didn't need it called out that that was Michael's baby. Like, no, that's way too far. I didn't need Michael to be stopped by rocks. It's just weird, totally anticlimactic. I didn't need Dr. Loomis to end his tenure in the Halloween franchise getting the mark of thorn on his wrist and now becoming the leader of this cult? It's just weird. I totally understand and respect if somebody is like, well, I prefer that because that is at least what they were trying to do with this movie. I get it, but I don't like what they were trying to do. So the fact that they cut a bunch of that out and streamlined it in the theatrical cut, I think makes it just a way better watch. My next hot take, and I really have to think about how to word this, so I'll just make it general and broad, is that a lot of the movies in this franchise that get a bunch of hate feel so forced and over the top. And I think of movies like Halloween 5 or Halloween Kills, where I just feel like the hate for it is largely manufactured, and it's people just living in an echo chamber and focusing on one or two things. They get hyperfixated on it, and they make those the reasons why they say the movie's trash. A lot of people will say, the clown cops in Halloween 5. Yeah, it's stupid, but it was the late 80s, whatever. Or the difference in the house, it looks nothing like the Myers house. Well, that was intentional. Like, it wasn't an accident. They wanted a house that was going to have an attic and a basement and a laundry chute and all of that. Like, they wanted it to be this gothic manor. Is it in continuity? No, absolutely not. But it's not like they just totally whiffed and were like, yeah, this looks like the Myers house. Or in Halloween Kills, evil dies tonight. We get it. I know, they say it like 100 times in the movie, and it is annoying, but like, are we not able to see the merit in these films aside from these few things that annoy us in each one? Like, I really try with all of these movies, and of course I'm biased, it's my favorite franchise, to not hyperfixate on the bad and try to find the good in all of them. Because I feel like most film has merits to it. There's always something you can find in a movie that you'll like. And I think there's actually a lot to like in Halloween 5 and in Halloween Kills. I don't think that's a stretch at all. And I think that if you could say 20% of the movie really annoys you or gets under your skin, what about the other 80%? Are we just going to ignore that? We're just going to say the 20% makes the movie as a whole like just bad? Now, again, I'm not saying that you have to like them or agree with me, because I'm not even saying they're good movies. They are to me. The hate for some of them is just way over the top. It makes me take you less seriously when you cannot actually like expound upon what you don't like about this movie, aside from a thing or two. If you have more reasons, great, and I respect it. I'm not trying to change your mind. Now, this one is a hot take, but I actually think it's like objectively true. And that is, Rob Zombie saved the Halloween franchise. Now, someone just heard me say that and they were like, oh, no, he didn't. Look, in the years between Resurrection and Rob Zombie's Halloween, there were a ton of ideas for the next Halloween movie, and not a lot of them very good at all. Trancas had no idea what they were going to do next. They were completely up against the wall. They were even flirting with direct-to-video territory. They had been flirting with that before H2O. It almost seemed like an inevitability. We were going to get there sooner rather than later with Halloween. And if you were going to make a true Halloween 9, oh my God. I mean, after seeing the returns with Resurrection, I don't think it's a stretch to say that a Halloween 9 probably would have totally flopped. So Rob Zombie being announced as a director of a remake of a classic movie was the perfect storm, because there are a lot of Rob Zombie fans, of his music specifically, and have been for decades. And Devil's Rejects had just come out and was actually pretty well received by a lot of people. So he was seen as an up-and-coming filmmaker. So you bring this up-and-coming filmmaker with an already large fan base into the Halloween universe and give us a fresh new spin on John Carpenter's classic, it clearly got people intrigued because it made a bunch of money. And it ushered in an entirely new era. After that, you would see Friday the 13th come back. You would see A Nightmare on Elm Street come back. Now, for better or worse, I think it is objectively true that without Rob Zombie remaking Halloween, who knows where the franchise would have gone next? We could have been in Hellraiser Revelations territory before we knew it. I know some of you guys are waiting for it. You're like, where's it at? Why hasn't he said anything about this movie yet? This is a video about hot takes in the Halloween franchise, and he hasn't mentioned that one yet. Halloween Ends is one of the greatest stories told in the Halloween franchise. Now, even if you hate this movie, I think you'll be able to hear me out here and at least meet me halfway. You might hate the execution, and you might think it totally came out of left field, and I don't necessarily disagree on that second point. However, I think we can both agree that this was the first movie in a long time in this franchise that actually tried to shake it up, actually tried to be different. This movie, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, Halloween 3, they are examples in this franchise of somebody really wanting to change the formula, really wanting to pull the rug out from under you. And that is why a lot of those kind of movies and long-running franchises like this really aren't fan favorites, at least at the beginning, because it's a shock to the system. But Halloween 2018 was very much the greatest hits of Halloween and Halloween H2O. Halloween Kills was like, whatever, we're a filler movie, we're just going to kill people. Halloween Ends was actually like, let's look at the town of Haddonfield and evil transference and what does that do and how did everything affect everybody. I really dug that. I think they executed it well, but again, that's just a matter of taste, whether it worked for you or not. I think we can agree that it is one of the most original ideas they've had in a long time for the franchise, and I'm super happy that it exists. The next Halloween franchise hot take is actually a pretty spicy one, and I'm sorry, Jason fans, but Friday the 13th doesn't come close to Halloween as a franchise on the whole. Now, I guess it's really dependent on what you prefer. For me, I like to have characters that I can latch onto. I like to have movies that have themes at play and ideas that they are toying with throughout the runtime. I look at Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's. I look at Halloween Ends. I look at Halloween 3. Movies that have a lot to say. Movies where there's so much that's beneath the surface there. I don't get that in a lot of Friday the 13th movies. But again, that's the point of Friday the 13th. That's not even really a knock on that franchise. That franchise definitely is about, we know what you come here for. You want Jason Voorhees, you want boobs, you want blood, you want drugs, you want fun. And you get that in most of the Friday the 13th movies. But I just think pound for pound, Halloween is such a better franchise. Head and shoulders. I don't even think it's particularly close. A Nightmare on Elm Street has an argument with Halloween because it has a lot of those things that I love about Halloween in its franchise as well. But Friday the 13th, most of the time you don't really care about the characters. You don't really care about how certain things happen, how we get from A to B so long as we do. So again, super fun, easy breezy franchise, but Halloween, it's clearly better. Now, if you guys know me, you know I have a ton of these, but I'm going to cut it after this one. This is going to be my last one because I'm sure I've already pissed a ton of people off. And my last hot take with the Halloween franchise is pretty simple. Yes, Danielle Harris deserves a legacy sequel. And I say this for a lot of reasons. Of course, the Thorn trilogy is like one of my favorites in the entire franchise. I love 1 through 6. Like, if I'm going to take 6 movies on a desert island, it's going to be Halloween through Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. And I think that after Halloween 2018, you've already shown us we can totally retcon previous movies. We can act like they don't exist, and this is just a different branch off the tree. So you can't really give me the excuse of, oh, well, Jamie Lloyd died. Yeah, so did Jamie Lee Curtis, and she came back. Furthermore, Danielle clearly loves this character. And although Danielle has acted a lot in her career, it is undeniable that she is most known for the role of Jamie Lloyd. Period. It's what made her who she is. So I think that if you brought her back, would it be as big as Jamie Lee Curtis returning? No. But I think it would actually be something a lot of fans would like to see. I think we are past the point now where we have to try to explain away how this happened. We can just accept it. Audiences are mostly smart enough these days. And you can just totally write out Halloween 6. Or if you want to keep Halloween 6, I've heard the theory from many fans that you could say that wasn't even Jamie Lloyd. Now, I haven't looked into that theory much myself, but regardless, all that is to say that there are so many ways that you could build off of that character and off of that timeline, and fans would accept it. Right now, we're in this weird period with Halloween where nobody knows what's going to happen next. You just did a new trilogy that was requels, so why not just do a Jamie Lloyd one? Because most of the fans are like, yeah, I'd see that. I don't know. I'm not Malek Akkad. I'm not Trancas. I don't make these decisions, but I don't know, if you want to bring Halloween back to viability after Halloween Ends, I think that that's a good way to do it. Whew! All right, so how many of you guys are absolutely livid right now? If you are, understand that that's the point of a video like this. I wanted to give controversial takes because I'm full of them in the Halloween franchise, and if you followed me for any amount of time, you know I mean every single one I said in this video, and I will argue tooth and nail about every single one of them. This isn't for show, this isn't for clicks. This is actually how I feel. But I want to know down below if you guys agree with these. Do these takes line up with yours, or are you totally in opposition to what I think here? Whatever it is, comment down below. Also, let me know if you liked this. Do you want to see a second round of these? Do you want to see me do more Halloween hot takes? Because guess what? I have dozens more. Please sound off. Let me know in the comment section. I want to thank you guys so much for watching the video. Make sure to leave a like on it. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. This is Nick at the Lost River Drive-In, and I'm pulling out.